Hi, the subject I will introduce you to is weakly supervised segmentation of multi-species canopies using active learning and fully convolutional neural networks. So, as a reminder, semantic segmentation refers to a pixel-wise classification. It means that each pixel will be attributed a class. For example, here each pixel is classified either as plant or ground. So how is it done today? Doing segmentation outside is a tough task because of the very diverse conditions across the images. The contrast between the plant and the background can highly vary, and there can be shadows, and also the lighting condition is also highly variable. And all this heterogeneity makes the task often too hard for unsupervised algorithms and forces the usage of supervised methods like convolutional neural networks. And so there comes the most significant bottleneck, getting good quality masks to train your model on. Doing it by hand is often too expensive. For example, in this paper, the authors referred to having taken 8 hours per images, and this is very unpractical. So to tackle these problems, 2 paradigms have appeared. The first one, with supervision, could be renamed as smart supervision because it only means to get good enough data to train supervised models on, but without too much labor. For example, in this paper, the author used a k-mean algorithm to cluster the different pixels together and then just select the clusters that represent plants. The second one, active learning, it essentially means to dialogue with your model and let it tell you what samples are the most relevant to be annotated to improve its performance. However, this pipeline of this paper only works for plots that are not too heterogeneous. Because the k-mean algorithm is highly noise sensitive, and if your images are too diverse, like in multi-species canopies, the number of clusters needed to separate plants from background will grow exponentially, and selecting the good ones will take a lot of time. So to overcome this limitation, we propose a different way to weakly supervise the segmentation. We consider each pixel as a completely independent object, and by doing so, we can only annotate some of them and let the model annotate the others. So once a little amount of pixels are annotated, we can ask our model to train itself on them, and then do a prediction on the whole image, and look at where it's wrong, and correct it. We then repeat the process until we are satisfied with the results, and so this time efficiency allows us to annotate more images, and thus we can have more diversity in our datasets. And it is also data efficient because we don't need to annotate pixels that the model gets right. And so the time efficiency also comes from the fact that plants' shape are very complex, and if you want to annotate a whole plant, you need to draw a complex shape, and this can take a lot of time. So here we can draw only little boxes where we want, but any shape really will do. So the underlying model we are talking about is an ensemble of gradient-boosted decision trees. So it's a sequential ensemble of shallow decision trees, and each tree of this sequence aims to predict the error of the previous model and slightly correct it. So it's very fast, and this is very a characteristic that we wish for active learning, because you want your dialogue with your model to be fluent. All right? If you have to wait 10 minutes between each iteration, that won't be practical, and that would be pointless. So hopefully all of this will make more sense with this quick demonstration. So we can see that we start by annotating a little bit of plant, then a little bit of background. We ask the model to do the prediction. Here we can see that it is wrong on these watering devices in black, so we annotate 1. We ask the model to predict. Now it's wrong on the white paper there, we annotate it, and we ask it to predict. And yeah, now we can see that we have a pretty decently annotated image in only 3 iterations. And so an important thing to say is that we can use the annotation obtained on previous images to predict on other ones. And at some point, the images do not need to be annotated anymore. For example, these results here were obtained by annotating only 19 images. And we can see that it works on the image on the left that has 3 different species, and as well as the image on the right that have 2 species, but a large amount of noise, where you can see that there are rocks, there are tools, and also shadows. So pretty hard image. So far we only saw how to get binary segmentation on these images, and the next step is to train a fully convolutional neural network on only soul crops images, because on those, despite the fact that they are binary segmented, we know what species are on those images, and so by training the networks on various soul crop images, we can make the model generalize on multi-species Canopies images. So as you can see on this example, the model was able to decently classify most pixels of the 3 species, despite never having been trained on multi-species images. So it's not perfect yet, but it is only a preliminary result, because this is still work in progress, and we think that this is a pretty good start, because the main question was if only training on soul crop images would work. And yeah, the answer is yes, it does. And thank you for your attention.